Here we go. I've got to make this video. I was not going to make a video today. How are you? Coffee cheers. It's Thursday, June 22nd. What time? It's about 8 in the morning. And I wasn't going to shoot a video today, but I have to because I woke up this morning late in bed playing around on my phone. I've been waking up slow lately. I played around on my phone for about an hour. I woke up at 5:15, got out of bed at 6:45. Listened to a podcast, fell in and out of sleep, checked Twitter, Instagram. And on Twitter, and then I got out of bed, took a bath, and then I had to shoot this video. So I'm laying in bed. I see a story. It says that some boys at a school wear dresses to protest the dress code at their school. It's hot, it's the summer, and they can't wear shorts because boys can't wear shorts, but girls can wear skirts, and they have this gender-based dress code that's just terrible and stupid. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that when it's hot outside, boys shouldn't be able to air their legs out and their fancy parts. If girls are able to wear skirts, they're basically open-ended, nude from the waist down with just a covering, and that helps them stay cool. Why can't boys wear shorts? It makes no sense. It's never made sense. But so today, I see this story, and I pulled it up on the computer here. I'm gonna have to look this way. It's on the dailydot.com is the story I ended up pulling out, and here's the headline. It says, teen boys don skirts to protest their school's pants-only dress code. And there's a photo of, I'll put the photo on the screen. There's a photo of about 15 little boys, little teen boys, in school outfits, and they're wearing plaid, like schoolgirl, like in the Britney Spears video when she first came out, the little schoolgirl skirt. They're all wearing them, and they're all laughing and smiling, and there are some girls in the background laughing too. And I love this story. It says, after a UK man wore a dress to work to protest a pants-only policy that prevented him from wearing shorts, a group of boys from a school for ages 11 to 16 in Exeter, England, have followed suit in their fellow student skirts. According to the BBC News, about 30 boys came to school, wore skirts to school after being told they weren't allowed to modify their uniforms by wearing shorts because it was summer and it's hot and they're dying in their pants. Per the uniform guidelines, male students are allowed to wear pants and female students can wear pants or skirts. So students are allowed to remove their ties and untuck their shirts, but the boys can't wear shorts. So they came up with the loophole. The obvious loophole is, this makes no sense. Girls can have their legs exposed. Why can't boys have their legs exposed? I mean, is that sexism? Why is there a gender-based dress code? Because you're a boy, you can't wear shorts. Anyway, it's never made sense. They did that to us in my high school. And that's why this story is so beautiful. So 30 boys did this today. And as I Googled it to look for this article, I saw a couple other instances where some other boys another one boy had done it as well. He wore a dress to school to protest the dress code. And then I started seeing a few from over the years. There's about a story every year where a boy or a group of boys will wear skirts to their high school or middle school because it's hot and they want their legs out and they can't wear shorts. So it's 2017, and people on Twitter are applauding these kids, these little boys. They're calling them heroes and courageous, and they're featured on Twitter. They're going to blow up. All their profiles are going to be big. Their names are going to be big. The whole world is with them, right? And I read this, and I had to laugh because 30 years ago, the world was a completely different place, right? There was no internet, which changes everything. It was like we lived in another age of existence, like a different society, before internet, after internet. And people are much more friendly towards boys who may wear skirts to school, or boys that dress as girls on a regular basis. The world is much more accepting of that and happy about that now than they were then. Back then, it would basically get you killed. And I know that because my family members, including myself, my older brother, and my younger brother, I know my younger brother was beat so badly. Once he had a pink mohawk, and some college football players decided that he might be gay, so they waited for him to leave the bar, And then they all beat him so bad that he lost partial eyesight in one of his eyes. Like they fractured his eye bone, I think. He had to go to the hospital. It was brutal. And I had long blonde hair. I looked pretty androgynous. I was a rock and roll kid, and a lot of guys thought I was girls. I was even asked to dance at clubs and stuff, and it got me in a lot of altercations as well. My older brother as well. And we didn't mind it. We liked the controversy, but I'm just trying to say that to say the world was a very different place. And in about it must have been 1989 or something like that. I would have been I think I was a freshman. My older brother was maybe a senior. The dates are going to be wrong, and this is all wrong, but I'm just trying to put you in the picture. He was a freshman. I was a freshman. He was a senior, and we had the same problem. We were living in Ada, Oklahoma, where the summers are brutality. 100+ days are nothing strange. They're very common, and the summers are brutal. Humidity, terrible. So you have to go to school. And we had one of those stupid dress codes at our school where boys couldn't wear shorts. You had to wear pants, slacks, or jeans. Girls could wear pants, slacks, or skirts. And one hot summer, my brother was sick of the short rule. Like he wanted to wear shorts to school but couldn't. So he, back then, on his own, figured out the loophole, looked at the rules, and thought, okay, if girls can wear skirts, surely boys could wear skirts if I want to. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want to wear a skirt, as a boy wearing a skirt in Ada, Oklahoma is not going to go well for you. You may end up injured or in the hospital or dead. But he figured out the loophole and said, screw it. He borrowed a jean miniskirt that went to about the middle of his thigh, maybe a little further down towards his knee, because there was a length requirement too. He put the skirt on, put some tennis shoes and socks and a T-shirt on, and hairy legs and bony knees and all, walked into Ada High School wearing an acid-washed jean miniskirt. And people lost their minds. Me and my friends and Jeremy, my older brother's name was Jeremy, his world, we all got it. We all laughed. We thought it was probably the smartest way to protest the dress code that there was. We could have gotten mad and broken some windows and torn things apart or boycotted school, but it was genius what he did, because he was making a point without breaking any rules. There's no rule in the book that said boys can't wear skirts. It's not against the law for a boy to wear a skirt. So he was a genius. He figured it out, put on the dress, walked into school, pandemonium breaks out. Now you have to remember, Ada's a small town. Back then there might have been 5,000 people living in the town, maybe a couple hundred kids at the school. And we had a vice principal who was stereotypical for that type of an environment. He was like an ex-great football player for the high school, and then he just kind of became a coach, and then they graduated him up to vice principal. But he was one of these guys. His name was Charlie, and he was your stereotypical small town redneck, used to be a high school football player, kind of big fat. He was probably in shape when he was a kid, but he was big, big chubby guy, bully. He's hanging around little kids. He's bullying the kids. Big mustache. This dude, I'm trying to paint the picture, but just not a good guy. We had a principal who, I forget his first name, but he was a good guy. Nelson was his name. He was a good guy. He treated you fairly. But Charles, you had to watch out for. Old Charlie was up to no good. And Charlie saw Jeremy. And here's this boy walking into school in a miniskirt, and he lost his mind. So the school is just out of our minds. We see Jeremy. And there's a thing called the student center. When you first walk into school, there was a stage surrounded by an area where you could watch the speakers, and then the lockers were around all of that. And I believe Jeremy was standing on the stage or near the stage. I can't remember for sure. But Charles, old Charlie, intersects. He goes straight to Jeremy. I thought he was going to kill him. He's like, what in the name of God is going on here, boy? This is how they talked, to us back then. What's going on here, boy? And Jeremy says, like, I don't know. What's up with you, Chuck? He's a smart aleck. But Jeremy was very smart. He was a straight A student, one of the most intelligent kids at school. But everyone loved him. All the teachers loved him. All the students loved him. But then he was also out of his mind, like an exhibitionist, class clown. He would do anything. He would pull his pants off. He would lick you on the face the first time you met him. He once wore nothing but a towel and combat boots to a football game at Ada High School. He wore a bra to college once because his girlfriend said she didn't like the shirt that he had on. I mean, he had no filter, this guy. Great dude, my older brother. But he was a mess. As much as everyone loved him, everyone also hated him because he was so over the top. But deep down, we all loved him. He had a great heart. And old Chuck gets a hold of him and he says, what the hell's going on? Jeremy says, I don't know what's up with you, Chuck. How's it going? He's like, what are you wearing? He's like, well, I'm obviously wearing a skirt. Why? Why are you wearing that skirt, boy? Well, it's hot. I wanted my legs out and we can't wear shorts, so didn't say anything about skirts, so I wore a skirt. And we were all going, oh my God. I thought he was going to get strangled by the vice principal. We're like, oh my God. And this is the question that to this day, I can see it in my head. I think about it all the time. And to see this story happen blew it up. I love this. But Chuck he says, well, boy, are you gay? Thinking this was going to condemn Jeremy, hurt him or terrify him because, no one would want to be called gay back then. And this was the ultimate way for him to chop him down, was to say something about maybe you're gay. This was a massive insult in 1989 at Ada High School, and he tried to hit him with that. And it was beautiful. Chuck goes, boy, are you gay? And Jeremy, lightning fast, he looks straight at him. He goes, no, sir, are you? And the whole place exploded in laughter. Kids were dropping books. We're all like, oh my God, he's going to kill him. And he did. He grabbed him by the shoulder, the back of his neck, and dragged Jeremy in a skirt into the office, physically grabbed him. You couldn't even do it today. He would have been arrested and charged with assault, but he grabbed him with his hand. We got beat up a lot in school in the 80s. I got beat up by coaches all the time. But he grabs him by the neck, drags him into the office, and we all figured that's the last time we're going to see Jeremy. But luckily, an hour later, what we didn't know was he drug him in there, just berated him in this room because Jeremy had beaten him in front of the kids, and he had turned this guy's gay joke around on him. And instead of Jeremy looking foolish, the Chuck looked like an idiot, and it blew everyone's mind. So they drug him in there. They kept him in there for a while, and there was some sort of a process where I believe they called my mom or called someone, and someone brought him some pants, and he couldn't come back to school until he put on the pants, and that was the end of it. But what he did was genius, and his comeback was legendary. If anybody was there and remembers it and sees this video, please comment, because it's one of my favorite memories of Jeremy, who unfortunately passed away about 20 years ago at this point, 19 years ago. He got sick of it all and decided to go on to the next world. But this was one of his shining moments, and it happened when he must have been 17. So Chuck says, boy, are you gay? And he says, no, sir, are you? The whole place explodes. I can't believe it. So it didn't make the news. Back then, there was no Twitter. If there had been a Twitter or a social media, Facebook, we would have all taken the photos, posted them online, and Jeremy Darras would have gone down in history as a trailblazing kid for equal gender rights. It would have been huge, as these kids are experiencing right now. These 30 boys. Now remember, these are 30 boys that decided to do this together in 2017, where it's almost better for you to be gay. People applaud you more if you're gay than if you're straight. It's almost like you're like a hero. But back then it was a different world, and Jeremy took a huge risk. He could have literally been beat to death or killed. So shout out to Jeremy. Those 30 boys did it. They're being applauded. That's wonderful. I laughed so hard in my bed. I was laughing going, I have to make a video. I have to make a video because this is too unreal. But that's 30 boys who get together, and it's easier to do that when you're with a group. All the boys walked in. A little easier than when you're alone. You think of it yourself, and then you take the big chance. So shout out to these kids wherever they are. And what I'm loving is these 30 boys did it in London. But there's another story from 2016 where it happened, another story from 2014 where it happened, and there are some articles, like New York Times and other fake news sources have written things about, is it time to end gender-based dress codes for schools? And I think it is for sure. Because if boys are still having to deal with this 30 years later, and who knows, maybe Grandpa Darras would not have done this. But maybe somewhere back in the day, someone else did this kind of thing. But I love this story, and it got a video out of me. I hope you're doing well. I miss my brother. I love telling these stories. I wrote a blog post about him once, which I will link in the description. It was actually when I was using Tumblr. It's not on my blog now, but I'm going to put it in the description. It's just titled Jeremy Darras. It tells the story, tells a snapshot of the story of us, and I invite you to read it. Learn about Jeremy and help me keep his name in the wind. They say you die twice. Once when you die, and then you die again when someone says your name for the last time. So in this way, I'm keeping Jeremy Darras alive. With these current news stories, he would die. If he was still alive, he would fly to England in full drag and take these boys on like a wild adventure of their lifetimes. I couldn't imagine what he would say about this story, but I guarantee you he would love it because I love it. And I love coffee, and I love the mornings. Get ready for it. And I love you, baby. That's it, man. Have a great day. I posted a new blog post on the blog. Links in the description. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, or I will stab you in a loving way. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. And as always, I will see you in the future.